Welcome to West Nale Virus, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about promotion relegation, specifically in leagues that do not use promotion relegation at the current moment.
Woo-hoo!
Yes, we've been saying we'd do this, and I think we said we'd do it in yesterday's episode. So we're doing it. We're doing it. We're here. We're doing it. Promotion relegation is a highly debated topic through the entire sports world. In any league that does not do promotion relegation, you have a large chunk of fans who either watch Premier League or are aware of it and
Any
love
kind of
the
soccer
idea
league.
of it. Yes. Yeah.
Other than the United States.
Yeah. And they either watch it or they know of it. And that huge chunk of fans, for the most part, really wants promotion relegation to be implemented into most leagues, including the MLS, including college football, including the NFL,
MLB,
the MLB, yeah, NBA, even I think,
yeah,
some people.
Oh yeah. Let's define promotion relegation first, and then get into it.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, so promotion relegation is a system that I believe was introduced to the sports world by the English Soccer League years and years ago. Could have been even before then, but from what I know. And basically what happens is you have 5 different leagues, one being, let's say, tier 1, one being tier 5. If you win tier, you play everyone in your tier. You don't play anyone outside your tier. And you play everyone in your tier twice, okay, home and away. If you win that tier in tier 1, you are the champion, world champion. If you lose in tier 1, if you finish, let's say, even bottom 3, you get what they called relegated to tier 2. And then you must spend the next season in tier 2. If you finish in the top 3, or maybe you finish in top 2 and then 3, 4, 5, and 6 compete in a playoff, and you win that playoff, you get promoted to tier 1 and you spend the next season in tier 1. It is basically a system where you can see a team rise from the ashes, from basically nothing to something. It is hard to get to tier 1 if you start at the bottom, because it takes money. Your players get poached, especially how the English soccer system is set up. But there is an opportunity, much like NCAA March Madness.
Theoretically, Caleb and I and a bunch of our friends could move to England, start a soccer team, and in 6 years, we could be in the Premier League.
Right.
Theoretically, obviously, we could not do that. That is insane. But theoretically, that could happen.
Yes.
If Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi, sorry, not Leonardo, what the frick? Lionel Messi, a bunch of other players. Yeah, if they started their own team from nothing, I'm sure they could be in the Premier League in about 6 years from now. And anyone could do it. But in America, that's not how it works at all in any league.
Right. And the reason for that is cha-ching,
money.
Cha-ching, money, which is unfortunate, and it will probably never change. No, it will never change because of the people that they won't give that up. There's just no way.
I think eventually, at least one league in America will implement promotion relegation. I don't know what league, and I don't think it'll be the NBA. I don't think it'll be the NFL. I doubt it will ever be college football. The MLS, I think, is the most likely because soccer fans put a lot of pressure, or a replacement league for the MLS. I don't know. We'll see. But I would not be surprised if eventually at least one league did it, because it is a really fun thing to watch. It's a fun system. Fans love it. It's awesome to be able to cheer for this tiny team or start your own team, and getting kind of into some arguments for and against it. Please. I've heard someone talking about, or I read an article talking about how the English soccer league English Football League, is it's all their fan bases are very local.
Yes.
Manchester City fans live near Manchester City. Manchester United fans live near Manchester United. Arsenal fans live near Arsenal Stadium. It's pretty much
localized.
all local.
Right.
Obviously, yes, there is some international, fan base now. But for the most part, most of the fan base is very localized. And America, in America, let me hold on. There is
two teams in LA, one team in Santa Clara. I'm just talking about California teams. And so who do I cheer for? Who is someone not in those cities supposed to cheer for?
Right. Well, and I cheer for Atlanta United, right? I cheer for Atlanta United. They're the team from Georgia. I love Atlanta United. They're great. But
sorry, I was talking NFL.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought you said I thought you were talking about LAFC and
well, that's Galaxy. True. There's two in LA. There's one up north in San Jose.
Yeah.
It's not much different.
It applies in every sport, honestly. Yeah. California has too many teams. But yeah, no, I cheer for Atlanta United. And if we are talking about MLS, and they're an hour away, it's over an hour away, and then you got to deal with traffic and all this stuff. But what I was going to say is geography. Geography is one argument that people bring up. Now, for this instance, the New England Revolution traveled almost twice the distance between London and Moscow to play in the Cup final, I believe, last year. This was a while back, but still, at one point, it's basically from New England to California. It's way longer than like most of Europe.
Yes.
Like you could go, and English teams don't.
No, the longest they're going is what, 4 hours?
Right. They go to another part of England.
Right.
It's not
small.
A full day journey,
2 day.
Yeah, it's not a 2 day exactly. And yeah.
No, I agree. I like it. I mean, you're going to get that travel if you go promotion relegation anyway, because you're going to have teams from all over.
Agreed.
But the nice thing is, I like to use this example when I tell people about promotion relegation. Josiah, you and I have cousins and family in Croatia. Croatia has the same system when it comes to soccer, and I believe they do the same thing in basketball. I'm not too sure. Don't quote me on that, but it may be similar in basketball, their basketball league.
Okay.
But our family comes from a small town called Kostela, and there's 5 different Kostelas in Kostela, right? So there's Kostela Luksic, Kostela Stari. There's a bunch, right? So they have teams. And there's like 2 teams in Kostela, and it's a small town. Well, then the big town that is 10 minutes away has a split, which has a huge team, right? And they're in the like top tier 1 of the soccer league. So most people,
correct. There is promotion relegation in there.
In basketball. Yes. I think in most European basketball leagues. So basically what happens is, as a fan, and I think people listening to this are fans, so this is what we care about. Yep. It is really fun for me to go watch my hometown team, who may not be as good, right? Because I live in a small farming community, but we can start a team and we play teams, right? That's my team. I cheer for them. But then 15 minutes down the road, there is a really big town. They would probably have 2 or 3 teams, and one of them would probably be pretty good. And I would cheer for that team. And you have those possibilities when you talk about geography and
right. Well, and in that argument that I saw, it was a comment on an article, but that argument was arguing against promotion relegation. They're saying that
really,
they're saying if you want to start a second division team, I'll read it verbatim. If you wanted to start a second division team near the Revolution, the nearest city with a chance would be Hartford, Connecticut. That's almost 2 hours away and would need half a gas tank to drive. But here's the issue with that argument. It doesn't have to be a huge city. It doesn't have to be a Hartford, Connecticut.
Right.
It doesn't have to be one of the biggest cities in the state. I live in the area. I don't live in this city,
Right.
but I live in the area of Dalton, Georgia. And it's not a huge town. It's not huge, but it's big enough. Under the English Soccer League rules, we would have a team. We would absolutely have a team in Dalton.
There's enough money in Dalton to start a team and enough players of whatever sport.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, of literally any sport, we would, if we could, we would start a team.
Yes. Same where I live. I live in the Fresno area, Fresno, California.
Yeah. And then I live, a little further away, but Chattanooga, Tennessee, they'd have like 2 or 3 teams. I mean, they already do have one semi-pro soccer team
and a baseball team, I believe.
Yes, they have the Chattanooga Lookouts. That's their baseball team, and the Chattanooga Red Wolves, which is their soccer team. But yeah, they absolutely would have these teams if you had this sort of grassroots. Anyone can start a team, start in this league and then go to this league.
There's more of a connection. You have more of a connection to that. But
exactly.
I don't want to spend too much more time talk because I think they get our point.
Yes.
But let's move in to the main part of this episode.
One more thing to say about the geography thing.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. It's the same way now. And if you change it, it would be the same way then. It doesn't change anything moving to promotion relegation. The geography is going to stay the same, actually.
That's true.
So it's just how it is.
Yeah, the land's not moving. That's what you mean. That's what you're saying. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So the main part of this episode is we're going to relate this to college football. Josiah and I love college football. Is there anything else that you want to talk about, Josiah? Well, we could talk about other sports, but we're going to play some hypotheticals with you guys when it comes to college football and arguments for and against. But I think there is a huge argument for anything anything and everything promotion relegation. I'm a huge fan. Are you a fan? Are you a lover or a hater of promotion relegation? First and foremost,
I like promotion relegation for sure.
I do as well. And Josiah said that, and he's an SEC guy. So take that into consideration.
Be super fun.
So let's talk college football. First, what the Power Five has done is they have separated themselves by calling themselves the Power Five, and then calling the rest of the conferences Group of Five, which I don't like, but it's how people know those people look at now. Yeah, unfortunately. And so there's arguments on how to separate and do these promotion relegations. But I want to tell everyone first and foremost what the tier 1 conference would look like. Okay. And that Josiah and I would separate each conference, each division, I guess you could say, into tiers, 16 teams. So you play 15 games. Okay. You're not playing twice like soccer because it's football. Okay. And we picked 15 because you play 12 regular season games, a conference championship. If you make the college football playoff, 2 more, and you win, you play in 2 more. So those teams are, after last year, Georgia, Alabama, Michigan, Cincinnati, Baylor, Ohio State, Oklahoma State, Notre Dame, Michigan State, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, Utah, Pittsburgh, Clemson, Wake Forest, and Louisiana. That is not Josiah and I making a list. That is the end of year rankings. And we just took the top 16.
Yep.
So that would be your tier 1 division conference for next year.
Yeah.
I love it. I have no problem with that.
I mean, and I'll say this. College football is the one thing I can see making an argument for not doing promotion relegation. College football specifically. And I only say that because it's a college sport. You only have your players for a limited amount of time. It's all about the school's money, how much money is available to that school. That's not going to change a whole lot, year to year.
It could. Donors.
It
may
could
not give.
It could. But yeah, I college football is the only one where I could see making an argument for not doing it. All professional sports should work like that.
Yes,
they need to do it. It's a professional sport. You get to play sports for a living, not just a living, a killing. You are robbing the world. You are getting the most money ever for doing like the most fun thing ever. Like, screw you. I mean, just kidding. But like, seriously, in a professional sports setting, why is there are no consequences? There are no consequences. There is only, there are consequences for players in terms of, you might get cut from your team, eventually your career will be over, but
and then they're done. They don't have anywhere to go.
And they're done. They don't have anywhere to go.
They don't argue that it would be better.
It would be. I, as a Georgia fan, and I'm sure anyone can relate, any college football fan can relate, watching players from Georgia who I loved watching, go into the NFL, never get a chance to start, sit on a practice squad for, 8 years, and then retire. It's like, come on. I wanted to see you play some more. I loved watching you, like it was so fun to watch you in college. I want to watch you some more. If there was another league below the NFL, I would get to watch them.
And then if they won that second tier and they come up to the NFL.
Yeah. Or they play really well and a NFL team signs them then, I mean, either way it works. But yeah, it's that being said, back to the college football thing, saying we do move college sports into this promotion relegation system. Yeah. 16 in the top. Those are the top 16. You read them off. And then the next 16 would play. They would move up into the next conference.
Right, the top 3 or whatever.
Yeah, the top 3, top 1, top 2, which we know it works because we do it in NCAA 14.
We do.
But which very realistic simulation. But no, it would be a fun thing. I think a more realistic thing for college football is expanding the playoff.
Yes.
But yeah, promotion relegation, at least to me, for between FBS and FCS, I think makes a lot of sense. The bottom 2 or 3 teams in the FBS move down to the FCS, and top 2 or 3 teams move up.
Yeah, and that's at a huge level.
Yeah,
you're talking like bottom of the bottom. Like, I mean, you could.
I'm talking UConn from a few years ago. They're going down. North Dakota State's coming up.
Okay, you're stretching this across the entire NCAA.
Yes.
Okay,
absolutely.
Down to Division 3.
Absolutely.
I think that's awesome. That would be so fun.
Yes, it would be.
I mean,
I'm dying to see North Dakota State play some Bamas and Cincinnati.
Yeah, they would. I think they would run through the lower tiers of Division 1 FBS schools. They would win every year.
I agree.
Probably.
They'd kick UConn's butt.
Oh, easily. They would. We talked about they separated the conferences and the group of 5 conferences. They would do really well in the group of 5 schools, and they would beat a lot of ACC teams, the lower tier Big 12, Big 10, Pac-12 schools. They would beat them. I think they could be a tier 2, tier 3, occasionally tier 1 team.
Yeah.
And then I'm just throwing this out there. We're talking promotion relegation. Every year, soccer has a tournament. They can play more games, right? So they have a tournament where they let every team have the possibility to play anyone. Okay. Single elimination tournament. Now, this is just wild. It can't be done for football. You would have to shorten the schedule or the season.
Right.
And
Yeah. The problem with football is it takes a way bigger toll on the body. But you can't
Right.
play as many games as you can in soccer and baseball and basketball and all that.
Right.
It's just how it
But
is.
you could see a New Mexico State playing all the way in this single elimination tournament and then playing, a Wake Forest at the championship. You're like, whoa, what the heck?
Right. Or, say even, it's bottom three, right? You take the bottom three or you take the bottom four.
Yeah.
1 and 2
yeah.
go down, and then 3 and 4 play. That's
Right.
their conference championship game,
Mhm.
but it's just to stay in their division.
Right.
And then same with the up, but it's to move up.
Okay, let's talk negatives here. No rivalry games, no guaranteed rivalry games. Okay,
That does
so
suck.
you would miss out on Georgia Tech, possibly Georgia Tennessee, Georgia Florida. I
Yeah.
would miss out on
It
a lot of games. I mean, you're not going to get Michigan, Ohio State,
right.
and that could be a
Bama,
deal
Auburn.
breaker for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that's a deal breaker, but that could be.
It's and that's something that you could theoretically keep 1 week for rivalry week, keep the last week being rivalry week.
Right.
You play your guy, you play your rival,
Make it
plain
only
old
15
fashioned. Hey,
teams.
yeah, exactly. It would suck, taking all these college football traditions and all these,
Yeah.
things that have been held in place for so long, so many years, long storied rivalries and traditions and things like that, and then just take them away and do this new thing. And that's why I don't think it will ever happen in college football. I think the college football community is too
Old school,
Yes. I
tradition
agree.
based.
Yes, tradition based, old school. And a lot of that, honestly, if we're being honest, it's because a lot of the college football fan base is middle-aged people. It's, people who've already graduated from college, moved on, and now they're looking back on it and it's like, oh, that's my team. Woo!
Yeah.
Cheering for their team. When you're 12, if your dad doesn't cheer for a team, why the frick would you cheer for a college football team?
Well,
You haven't been to college.
I'll tell you, going to college, growing up a college football fan, then learning about promotion relegation later on in life, enjoying it, then, weighing the pros and cons of everything. Promotion relegation is the way to go. And I wanted to say this, going back to negatives, and we talked about money, right? So and we never talked about why we're saying money. And I think people can figure it out on their own. But why would a Georgia, an Alabama, Michigan put themselves in the situation to lose and move down in a tier and then lose out on recruits, lose out on fans? Because let's be honest, if you're in the bottom tier, it's going to be hard to get fans. But here's my argument for this. I throw that out there and then I got to argue my own point because I want people to hear both sides. It's college. What's that?
Devil's advocate.
Yes, it's college. We talked about geography. I will always cheer for Fresno State, no matter what tier they are in.
Right.
So that because
there is a difference in college where there is that with pro sports, there's that, once again, that grassroots kind of mentality where you and I can go start a team. You and I can't go start a college. No. That's never going to be how it works. There's going to be a bottom. There's going to be a bottom tier. You can't go below that. These are still college teams. They still have fan bases. You can't go underneath here, which is basically the bottom of Division III.
Mm-hmm.
And
everything has a requirement. If you're going to start a college or a football team, you have to, give out a certain amount of scholarships, do these certain things. So there's still requirements.
Right. And the other reason I worry about promotion relegation not working in college sports is because these teams are centered around a college. You know, it would kind of suck for all these huge schools if they just, USC has a couple of down years and USC ends up in Division 2. Like that would suck. It's a huge school, huge fan base. It would suck. But yeah, once again, I do think it would be fun to at least see, these Division 2 teams and Division 3 teams get a chance to move up and, increase their revenue.
Even
and
group of
things like
5
that.
teams.
Yeah, group of 5 teams even. Oh, and group of 5 and power 5, I think is a completely different discussion. I think a lot of it just has to do with the culture that's been created in college football. And the fix is change the culture. It's unfortunate, but a couple of teams like Fresno State getting some big recruits, maybe you guys start winning, start beating some big teams, beat Oregon, beat Ohio State, beat Georgia. If you can go out there and do that, people got to take notice. And then and obviously it is harder for group of 5 schools. Once again, geography. There's a lot of football centered around Georgia and Tennessee and Florida and Texas.
The South.
The South is very into football. You would not believe it if you don't live here. But yeah, it can be fixed, I think. Group of 5, power 5. I do think it is annoying. I don't like how the group of 5, power 5 conversation goes. But unfortunately, the reality is most MAC schools and Sunbelt schools and, even Mountain West schools, I'd say Mountain West is probably about the top of the group of 5 conferences, but still, like, most of them wouldn't beat the better teams in Power 5 conferences.
That's why you have promotion relegation, and you find out exactly where you belong.
And it would be an interesting thing, and it would be really fun for Fresno State fans or Cincinnati fans. Now you guys don't have to hope at the end of the year, or hey, UCF fans, you go 12-0. Don't worry about it. You're moving up. It's like you're not going to have to claim a national championship and everyone else is going to go shut up. That's not going to have to happen anymore. You get to move up now. And now you get a chance to actually play because you've proven that you don't deserve to be stuck in that conference. You deserve to move up. Boom. Done. So I do see the merit in it.
There's one article that I read, and I think this would be fun. Here's some hypotheticals for everybody. You give each conference, so let's just say the money conferences, we call them the Power 5, they get assigned a lesser money conference, we call them Group of 5. And then underneath Group of 5, we assign them other conferences. So you move up and down within those conferences. So Pac-12 and the Mountain West, I assume, and then maybe the Big West, I think it's called, and which is like Weber State, Sac State, Cal Poly, UC Davis.
That'd be fun. That'd be a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah, so along those lines, you move up and down in there.
Right. So SEC schools still play SEC schools.
Right. Except for the one that gets relegated. Sorry.
Right. Yeah. Happens.
I mean, you
Maybe
could play them in
back next year. They probably won't. It's Vandy.
The other one that I saw is an aggregate style where you play 4 years, and then at the end of 4 years, the overall record, you get promoted or relegated based on your record. So that gives you a class, an entire recruiting class to, I don't know, show off your talents, I guess. I mean, it gives you 4 years. So I saw what they did, and this article came out 2 years ago. And at the time, it was Rutgers was really bad. And they did this. It was the same thing with the conferences because they just split it up into conferences really easy. They didn't do it along the lines where you and I just had the extreme lines of tier 1 all the way down through division 3 or division
Right.
3 or NAIA or whatever.
So little another argument for promotion relegation. I just brought up Vandy.
Okay.
This past year, they played one FCS school, East
Okay.
Tennessee State, who I believe y'all are playing next year. East Tennessee, I could be wrong about that. East Tennessee State. Anyway, first game of the season, Vanderbilt lost to East Tennessee State 23-3.
Mm-hmm.
They only won 2 games all year, which were against Colorado State and UConn, who I brought up earlier. And UConn played Holy Cross and lost 38-28 to Holy Cross, who is in the Patriot division.
Yeah. Patriot League and FCS.
Yes, in FCS. And the only game they won was to Yale, which is in the Ivy League schools.
Holy Cross only beat Yale?
No, UConn.
Okay.
The only game UConn won was to Yale, who I don't believe played any other FBS schools, but yeah,
there you go. There's a big argument. Vanderbilt, UConn, they're in the same tier. You know, they're not.
Yeah,
and those
they're moving
FCS
down.
Schools, those FCS schools, they would fight for promotion relegation. I would think. Maybe not North Dakota State because they're getting big money winning championships in the FCS and James Madison, but
right,
who knows? I think the big schools would be outvoted. If it was put to a vote, it would be outvoted.
I mean, hey, it isn't fair to get, a bunch of these teams that want a chance to play for these bigger spots.
Mm-hmm.
And I realize that that you can move up to the FBS from the FCS. You can move up to Division 1 from Division 2, but it's really rare and it requires a whole contract process, and the college has to talk with the conference, and the conference has to talk with NCAA, and the college has to talk with the NCAA, and
it's a huge process.
It's a huge process. It's hard. And once again, the schools that can, AKA North Dakota State, James Madison, etc., they're not going to want to, because they're going to move into the Division 1 and they're going to get beat a lot. And they might not make as much money. So, I don't know. If you're a fan of one of those schools, maybe you don't like it, but
let us know.
Let us know.
Go on
Let
YouTube,
us know if you
West
like
Nile
it.
Virus. Comment down below. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. West
Main
Nile Virus.
takeaway: all professional sports need to
Yes.
be promotion relegation. You're playing for money. There needs to be consequences if your team isn't doing well. I mean, come on, Jacksonville.
Yeah, no, there's so many. I would say there's so many basketball and baseball players. There's not as many football players. So many basketball and baseball players and teams. I mean, look at baseball.
Right.
Triple A, double A, single A, rookie ball. They have baseball leagues that are, you move up that are just in geography wise. Like, oh, this is the East Coast League, West Coast League, but they're all affiliated with different teams.
It's absolutely ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Very simple solution.
And baseball too, specifically, they got some BS with the contracts moving up from double A and single A and all that.
Yeah.
These players trying to get into the MLB teams, screw those players over.
Yeah. Well, the MLB will be the last league to do that, even though they should be the first because there's so many baseball players.
Right. It makes so much sense for the MLB. Yeah. It makes so much sense. And the NBA, I would love it. I mean, it would be so fun to see a bunch of the guys at Dalton State, it's where I go to college, forming a freaking team and trying to play to get into the NAIA, which is what Dalton State is actually in.
Right.
Or like a bunch of people who graduate from Dalton State forming a team and trying to, work up into the second or third league down from the NBA. That would be awesome to have a chance at an NBA team in Dalton. That'd be so cool. I think
this is my worry. And I know we've gone long on this, but we're very passionate about making sports fun. So
yes,
if you do that, Josiah, if all professional leagues go promotion relegation, I think college becomes irrelevant. College sports become irrelevant because you can do a grassroots team and you do not need to play in college. So then college becomes irrelevant.
That is true.
That is my only worry, that if the NFL or NBA or MLB does that, it becomes irrelevant. So we talked college football because we love college football.
Well, don't worry. It never will. It's America. We like money.
Yes.
So yeah, I wouldn't worry about that. It's never going to happen. But
nope.
In fact, there's a whole article I read that was talking about, guys, we shouldn't be talking about this. It's just never going to happen. And I was like, well, okay, that's not a good argument for not talking about it. But
yeah, we just devoted an hour of our life to it. So
exactly. So screw you, person.
Yeah, go away. No, I think it's fun to think about. Josiah and I, whenever we run leagues, we always do promotion. That's all we do. Whether that's video games, whether that's real life leagues, all we do is promotion relegation.
Right. Because
it keeps everything exciting. It keeps everything exciting.
For instance, I mentioned NCAA 14 earlier. We started in the bottom league and we're playing with Caleb's. It's me, Caleb, and Caleb's brother Cole. Cole is in I think he's in the top league. Caleb's 2 or 3 leagues down from the top, and I'm 7 leagues down from the top. I'm at the bottom, but I'm still having fun moving up.
It keeps things exciting. You're always working towards something.
Exactly. There's actually something to work towards.
Being in the Sun Belt and not being able to ever make a national championship.
Yeah.
So it's fun. We would love to hear your guys' opinion on promotion relegation. This gets pretty nasty because people are strongly opinionated when it comes to this.
Yes. Like us.
Yes. So bring it on. We'll see you in the comments.
We'll fight you in real life in a boxing match.
Do not sign me up for those.
I'm not going to do that.
Okay.
That was a lie. I'll have someone do it for me.
My insurance won't cover that.
Probably true.
All right. Be sure to follow us. West Elvira's TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Nales, Nale, and on YouTube. Subscribe, like, comment. See ya.